curious, leaning in. If you read the opening chapters of Genesis carefully, you hit a glaring grammatical anomaly almost immediately. When the Creator is about to make humanity, the text says, "Let us make mankind in our image." The pronoun is entirely plural. The physical setting presents another strange problem. Before the act of creation even begins, Genesis describes the earth as formless, void, and covered by deep, dark waters. The text begins on a planet that has already been devastated by a flood, requiring someone to step in and clear the atmosphere. In the Garden of Eden, we encounter an uncharacteristic behavioral anomaly. The Creator panics when humans acquire knowledge. The text states, "The man has now become like one of us. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life." An almighty, infinite God appears threatened by human intellectual progress. Modern translations have obscured the entities hidden in these original passages. While we are taught about talking snakes and feathered angels, the ancient Hebrew texts describe entities like the seraphim and explicitly mention dragons. This Sumerian stone tablet contains part of a vast historical record created by the world's oldest known civilization. These cuneiform tablets predate the Hebrew Bible by thousands of years, and they reveal that Genesis is a summarized, heavily redacted version of these older Mesopotamian accounts. Reading the biblical creation story as a literal, divine act ignores its origin. These anomalies are fragments of an older, physical record concerning a pre-biblical arrival of non-human entities. That plural pronoun in Genesis, the us and our, comes from the Hebrew word Elohim, which translates to the powerful ones. But before they were the Elohim, the Sumerians recorded their original name, the Anunnaki, meaning those who from the heavens came to earth. According to the ancient records, the Anunnaki traveled from a planet called Nibiru. They arrived on an Earth submerged in floodwaters following a cataclysm. They used advanced technology, described as high-pressure vortices of wind, to clear the land. Their mission was industrial, mining Earth's gold to stabilize Nibiru's failing atmosphere. Extracting that gold required generations of grueling labor. Eventually, the working-class Anunnaki rebelled against the conditions in the mines. Facing a total operational collapse, their chief medical officer, a scientist named Enki, proposed a solution. They would engineer a biological workforce. Enki and his sister Ninhursag captured the primitive hominids already roaming the planet, like Homo erectus, and began splicing their own DNA into the hominid genetic code. After many failed experiments, they successfully engineered the Adamu, a sterile worker race programmed for obedience. Humanity entered the world as a biological machine. Our early ancestors were engineered to meet the labor requirements of an industrial mining colony. This aerial view shows the lush, river-fed landscape of ancient Mesopotamia. This is the exact geographical location where the Anunnaki established their primary operational center. Commanded by Enki's brother, Enlil, this enclosed agricultural laboratory was known as Eden. Enlil demanded the human workers remain docile and ignorant within the facility. Enki strongly disagreed with his brother's methods. As the architect of the human genome, he developed a deep sympathy for his creations. He recognized their latent potential and sought to break Enlil's absolute control over the Adamu. Examine this carving of a winged Anunnaki figure. The serpent is Enki's symbol, representing genetics and wisdom. By offering the forbidden fruit, Enki administered a systemic genetic update, altering the human sequence to grant higher cognitive awareness and the ability to sexually reproduce. When Enlil discovered the humans wearing clothes and exhibiting independent thought, his reaction was swift. Fearing an intelligent workforce would overpower the Anunnaki, Enlil banished them from the protected laboratory, forcing them to fend for themselves in the wilderness. The defining conflict of early human history centers on a rivalry between two brothers. Their argument was over exactly how intelligent the human species was allowed to become. Centuries later, scribes in Babylon and Jerusalem compiled these fragmented Sumerian histories into the Hebrew canon. During that process, they edited the texts, collapsing the warring brothers Enki and Enlil, the plural Elohim, into a single, contradictory, monotheistic God. They also masked the physical reality of these visitors. The Bible frequently references the seraphim, which modern culture visualizes as beautiful, feathered angels. In ancient Hebrew, the root of seraphim translates literally to fiery, flying serpents. Examine the scales and form of the Mushashu dragon. Ancient civilizations recorded the fearsome physical presence of their rulers. The Book of Revelation links the ancient serpent to a great dragon, preserving a fragment of what primitive humans witnessed before texts were censored. Enlil's authoritarian faction ultimately maintained control of Earth and rewrote the historical narrative. Enki, the scientist who gifted humanity consciousness and reproductive freedom, was systematically demonized. He was branded the deceiver, the snake, and eventually Satan. Every horned demon and haloed angel embedded in our cultural psyche stems from a scrambled, mistranslated memory. They are the shadows of advanced overlords who engineered our ancestors and fought over our destiny. Through these original Sumerian records, the fall of man takes on an entirely different meaning. Leaving the garden marks the moment of human cognitive independence. It was a leap into intellectual sovereignty. Look at the sheer scale of the cigarette. Subsequent human empires weaponized the Anunnaki framework to maintain power. They built towering temple complexes and curated the ancient stories to demand blind obedience, teaching the masses that the pursuit of knowledge is a punishable sin. To understand our origins, we have to bypass the edited doctrines of the last 2 millennia. We must look directly at the cuneiform tablets, the oldest written records on Earth, which document the mechanics of how we were made. Humanity bears the scars of an ancient conflict, but we are not the flawed subjects of a disappointed creator. We are a resilient species that survived our original architects to claim our own intellectual sovereignty.